Hey Earthlings!
Hey everybody! In this video we're going to be talking about psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms.
And the 7 most important factors that help us in the last years to have healing and life-changing experience every time we talk plant medicine.
Not every time.
Except one. We're going to share it in the video.
Twice. But yeah, so we also want to share with you what could potentially go wrong, or how you could potentially have a less healing experience if you ignore these factors, and why it's so important that you guys that you pay attention to these 7 things.
This is the start of something new. This is the start of something magical. This is the start of something new. This is the start of something true.
Little disclaimer before we start. This video is for educational purpose and we are not encouraging anybody to take illegal substances.
The first factor that we think is super important is to have the right kind of setting. What we mean by this is to have a space for the ceremony that feels contained, that feels safe, that has the right energy, and there's a right intention put into that. It could be in nature. It's amazing to do mushrooms in the nature when you can connect to everything around you. But just make sure that the space is contained, meaning that there are not other people coming in or out of the space. And this includes trusting the people that you're with, if you are with other people, and that they are not leaving the ceremony in the middle, or I would even prefer not using electronic devices because that can open up portals.
So if you are doing it at the first time, it's really important to do it either alone or with people who have capacity to listen to you and connect to you and be present with you. If you have the right kind of people around you who can really connect to you in that deep level, that will be healing experience. But don't do it in a, for example, festival place, which we already done it once and it was like really bad experience.
Yeah, I know some people take, they take mushrooms and then they go to a party. I personally wouldn't be able to do that. For me, it's such a sacred experience and connects me so deeply to other realms. And really, this is why we highly recommend it to be done in a ceremonial setting, where the space is made sacred and it denotes the beginning of some, a sacred, special experience.
Although it can be fun doing it in a party environment, but it will not be as healing if you really take the time and make a sacred ceremony around this plant medicine. And here where you can find the really healing experience for it.
So if you do take it outside of the proper setting, it could lead into a very overwhelming experience, which was the case for me at this festival where we were at. It was overwhelming and I couldn't really handle the sensory inputs and all of that, and I had to really seek a place for myself that was where I could
to the mountain.
where I could connect to the nature.
The second factor is to seek grounding during the ceremony. Sometimes it get really intense on plant medicine, and we really benefit many times from having fire, having music, where it can bring us back to the 3D, to bring us back to this dimension where we can actually feel like we have like a grounding point.
Yeah, and especially afterwards, it can be really beneficial to make sure that you are in your body, because it can really take us out of the body, it can take us to other dimensions. So it's really important that we have an anchor in the physical, especially afterwards, that we really make sure that we return fully to our embodiment. And we don't, leave open those portals, energetic portals in our aura, because this can make us vulnerable to psychic attacks, for example.
Yeah, and that can be done by consciously meditating and touching maybe the ground, maybe touching something, wood or anything that can give you the feeling of being present in your body with your sensation. And when you do the soft transition between the high dimension where you can visit a mushroom and the life here, you will have more opportunity to integrate what have happened to you during this trip.
Yeah, and because of this importance of grounding, it might be really important to not interact with people who are not in the same space, not in the ceremonial space directly after, because it can feel ungrounding actually to immediately engage in a lot of concepts or very different dissonant vibrations.
Yeah.
And it can be a disturbing experience.
And this is why we recommend you, when you take plant medicine, to take it on a day off where you don't have any event, where you don't have to work or to do any other appointment. Just devote this day for this amazing experience, and it will give you also amazing insights just before you go to sleep to process everything happening this day, because it's really a lot of downloads, it's a lot of information for your system. The third point, which is I think the most important one, is setting an intention for your trip.
Yeah, so this could be anything from being present with a specific emotion. It could be dealing with a situation in your life, gaining more insight, gaining more awareness, meeting the medicine.
Yeah, or even connecting with your life purpose, healing ancestral trauma, connecting to your creativity for certain project. It could be directed in any way, because the universe is wanting you to evolve and wanting you to go deeper. And when you set this intention, the universe will bring to you what you need for healing.
Yeah. And this intention is going to be your kind of like a red line or guiding principle in your journey, which you can always return to, and you can start understanding things from the perspective of, okay, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And the reason is why we're setting intentions is because even though we tend to look up to these medicines, they are their own consciousness, and so are we. And the medicine has a lot to teach us, but it's not above us. And our own free will is always the most important thing for us. We need to understand that we are, you know, the creator of our lives, and we have the authority over our lives. So even when we work with a medicine, we don't give our power away to them. We are there as students, and perhaps they as well might be learning from us.
Yeah, I like when one of our shamans said once that when we take medicine, we are not only healing ourselves, but we are healing the medicine spirit and give it more expansion because it learned through us. And we are giving healing experience to the place we took the ceremony in. Of course, the medicine has like amazing intelligence. It will take you to a right path. So don't worry if you don't have a clear intention. To just set an intention to the medicine to help you with what's important for you.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be super specific.
Yeah,
so if you don't have any intention, it could also be just fine. You know, you could still have an amazing experience, but it's more likely that you might end up with less clarity or confused about what it is that you experienced. You might lack understanding and not integrate as much learning and growth from that experience. Point number 4, having access to your aware self. What we mean by this is having the ability to be the container and the witness for your own experience, instead of simply, you know, jumping in and sinking into the experience, being in the mercy of it, that you're able to hold space for whatever is happening in you. For example, if intense emotions come up, or memories, or whatever, body dysmorphia, is that what it's called? That you don't get overwhelmed or fearful about it, that you're able to simply witness what is happening in you. And this is a very amazing skill to have in general in your life.
Yeah, and those of you who done healing and did like inner work, I'm sure you're familiar with it. It could be in a different name, like Eckhart Tolle call it being in the now. The IFS system, they call it being in the self, or being the aware self, or the aware ego. It has a different name. And what's the most important in being in that space, that you can see beyond the identity. And if you can access this space before the ceremony and during the ceremony, it will be like a really deep dive for you guys.
Yes, because if you don't have that ability and something intense does come up for you, either you will depend on someone else holding space for you and guiding you through it, which can
is
also
not bad,
yeah, it's not bad, but the most healing experience happens when you are able to hold space for yourself, even if there's another person present. Because if you don't, you can go into a lot of fear and overwhelm and feeling out of control, and eventually it could be re-traumatizing for you. And you can practice, you know, accessing the aware self in mindfulness or meditation, just witnessing what's happening in you. The key is to stop distracting yourself from your internal experience, and to be willing to sit with whatever is alive in you and to bear witness to it.
Point number 5, preparing yourself mentally, emotionally and physically for this journey. And that would be physically, for example, try to be relaxed before it, take a day off, not eat so much before the mushroom. Perfectly would be if you don't eat at all, or eat a little bit of fruit before the ceremony, and you can eat after, of course.
And emotionally, it's quite important that you're not super stressed or agitated, that your mind is somewhere else, you know, because if you've just come out of work and you're back home, and you might not be in a state where you are actually able to relax into the experience. And that doesn't mean that you have to feel super good, because of course we take psilocybin to help us with depression, with anxiety and all kinds of things, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But the important thing is that you're mentally prepared to step into the experience fully and with presence, and that your full consciousness is in that experience and not somewhere else.
Usually before doing the ceremony we do short meditation, sometimes longer meditation, to just like be present with ourselves, our intention. And sometimes when you do this meditation before the journey, you might get like insight or something like really important for you that will help you to set the clear intention for the medicine. So I would recommend you to do a short meditation, guided meditation perhaps, and maybe connect to nature. If you can do it outside, you can take a walk before you start, or just connect to the tree, or bring a tree inside.
Yeah, and if you are not emotionally or mentally in a good place, what could happen is that you find it really difficult to ease into the experience itself, and you might find yourself agitated or resisting the experience. Or not getting so much out of it.
I forget to mention also that it's very important to keep all the appointment and all the distraction away from that day.
Point number 6 is to surrender and trust the process. This is so important because usually the most difficult times we have during trips is because we are resisting the experience. We are resisting something that the medicine is trying to show to us.
And in some cases I heard from many people, they go to ayahuasca ceremony or plant medicine ceremony where they had this vision like, oh, now I'm gonna have the deepest experience ever. And it could be something that's very subtle that they facing, and then resisting the subtleness and wanting to be somewhere else can ruin the whole experience for you.
So mostly if you think you're having a bad trip, it's just that you are resisting something that the medicine is trying to teach you or show you or bring you in touch with. You might be rejecting that experience.
Yeah, some people might have like physical discomfort, and that could relate to emotional discomfort actually, like when we push away or suppress certain emotion that we refuse to feel it, that can manifest during the trip that you're feeling something very uncomfortable in your body. So I think the key in this situation is just really to be present with whatever feelings, whatever emotions coming up.
If you find yourself not trusting the process, not surrendering, this can lead to a lot of fear, which simply lowers your vibration very quickly when you have taken a substance. And it can end up being a very terrifying experience. And I actually have the feeling that a lot of the psychosis that some people have experienced as a result of taking plant medicine is actually due to resisting the process of ego death, which is a quite common experience at larger dosages. So, this could simply be that the medicine is showing you
that you're more than your physical body, or more than your ego, or what you identify with yourself.
And because you are so identified, you are grasping onto the current identity and the perception that you have of the world, that it creates a lot of fear and panic that there is, this other reality or other, like an other way of unity consciousness, and we project a lot of fear onto the unity consciousness itself because we don't want to let go. And this creates this dissonance in the psyche, this feeling of, oh God, my reality is, shifting. I'm losing my, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
You are, in a way, losing your mind, and that's a good thing.
And you're gaining the bigger mind.
You're gaining beingness, awareness. Yeah. So that's a huge one. Oh, and also if you are resisting the journey, this might lead to not having any resolution. So you might just end up being in intense panic or anxiety throughout the whole journey and end up with no resolution.
Yeah.
Because you're not going through that initiation or that purge or that lesson that you need to go through.
Yeah, and if this happened to you before, I would really recommend you to go consciously, maybe without the mushroom, to go there to that space where you feel that panic or that like fear or whatever emotion that was there. And believe me or not, it has to do with you, not with the medicine. If this emotion come through plant medicine, it
was already in you.
Yeah, it's already in you. And what you need to do is to go there consciously. If you feel fearful or hesitant to do it on yourself, contact somebody who can hold space for you and really intentionally go to that space and sit with the feeling and let it pass through you. And this is why you can actually integrate a journey that was not complete perhaps, or maybe was you might consider it as a bad or negative experience. What's missing is integrating, and when you integrate, you would see how much this medicine has helped you before.
Yeah. So to connect this point to the previous ones, set an intention, yes, but then let go of any ideas or expectations of how the medicine should help you with that intention.
Exactly.
And also bring your conscious awareness to the experience. Whatever you're going through, you can surrender it, and at the same time bring your conscious awareness to hold space for it.
Exactly. So the 7th point, which is the most juicy one, we are taking plant medicine not to have fun, not just to see colors or whatever. We're taking it to have a better life, to integrate what the medicine is showing us into our physical life. So integration is, in my opinion, is one of the most important thing in the journey. And usually we do it at the end, after the medicine wear off. We usually sit in a circle, do a sharing circle where we can share each person insights. Usually me, I bring a lot of downloads to us.
Yeah.
And during this kind of like last hours of the journey after the medicine wear off, we have, I think, the most healing experience, because we can learn how like the concept or the information that we received in when we are kind of high on the medicine, we integrate it and we see how I can apply this in my life, how I can change my life to fit the new me, the new energy that embodied in me.
Yeah, so that it's not just something you experienced, you know, you went to the other dimensions and you saw the God perspective or whatnot, and then you came back and you returned to your normal life.
No.
That's not the goal.
Yeah. And this is why we love integration. We love like doing this work where you can like really reflect, and if the medicine didn't make your life better and you're using it to escape something uncomfortable for you, you're not going anywhere. Those medicines have amazing capacity to improve our life or to improve our relationship. So whenever we like get something, whenever we do ceremony, we usually integrate those to have a better relationship, and that brought us so much closer to each other.
Absolutely.
Help us to have like community, help us to really connect with the right people, help us to set boundary with people who are maybe energetically or mentally abusive to us.
Yeah, so really practically what integration is, it's looking at the experience you went through, it is understanding it, it is reflecting on it and seeing what is the lesson behind that. How can I, you know, change my current reality or take actions in alignment with what I have learned?
Yeah.
It's really bringing that otherworldly experience into practicality, into 3D in your daily life.
Yeah, and we have several videos about integration and healing. Check them in the description below. And if you don't have somebody to help you integrate in your circle, both me and I, we offer a private session where we can really connect to you and help you understand what you have seen in your journey, what has happened to you, and make sense with what happened with you. It's getting late, guys, and we need to run away from mosquitoes, so we decided to do another video where we share the actual benefit of doing the ceremony in the right way.
Yeah, and we're gonna share with you how we have personally gained so much knowledge and healing and understanding and awakening from this amazing medicine.
Yeah.
And we're also gonna make a video of how we fell in love.
Yeah.
And what that has to do with mushrooms.
Exactly.
And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch our video about San Pedro.
It's on the screen. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe and help us reach 2,000 subscribers.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
We would really appreciate that.
And of course, if you find this video helpful, share it with your friends, like it, so YouTube can suggest it to more amazing people like you.
Thank you so much for watching. We're gonna run out of the cold now. Hope that you stick around for more videos in the future.
Yeah.
Bye for now.